Here's a short video on Shinto or Shendo. Shendo or Shinto, Shin means unfathomable power, spiritual power, and Do is the way. So it is the way of the gods or the way of the gods within Japan. It's an ancient religion to Japan. It has many indigenous features that other indigenous religions have. And it had a resurgence in the 15th century. Now, the term itself was coined in the 8th century when Buddhism came into Japan, and then they had to differentiate what they were practicing already in Japan from Buddhism. The creation myth of Japan is very interesting, and if I can find a short video explaining this creation myth, I'll place it right here into this video.
Long before the heavens and earth emerged, all existence was a chaotic mess. There were no boundaries or form to this mysterious matter. At an unknown point in time, a light arose, and heaven was formed. The deity Ame no Minaki Nushu no Mikoto, along with Takami Mashumi no Mikoto and Kami Mashumi no Mikoto, the three creating deities, were brought into being. The earth was made from what was left after the heavens were created. The earth started off as an opaque void that took millions of years to fabricate into a mass that would resemble oil separating from water. After many deities were created, the earth still remained underdeveloped. The heavenly deities called upon Izanagi and Izanami, a divine couple. The deity said to them, "We bestow upon you this precious treasure with which to rule the land with, the creation of which we command you to perform." The deities handed Ama no Nuboko, a spirit, to the two, in which they would use to create with. The couple brought themselves to the bridge that separated heaven from earth and gazed below. As the two gaped at the frothy mass that which earth once was, they had thoughts of uncertainty on where or what to begin with. Izanagi had the idea of stirring the earthly mass with the spear. He then dipped the spear in and touched something. Izanagi drew the spear back to see what it was, and enormous drops trickled down, creating an island. The island is present-day Onokoro. Captivated with their creation, Izanami and Izanagi left the bridge to see the island up close. Upon arrival, they decided they wanted to create a country. Both of them then wanted to be remarried and reintroduced, so they created a pillar, the Heavenly August Pillar, in the center of the island. Around the pillar, they built the Hall of 8 Fathoms, a palace. Izanagi stood on the right side, and Izanami stood on the left side. They went around the pillar in opposite directions. When they met up on the other side, Izanami spoke first to Izanagi, saying, "How delightful it is to meet such a handsome youth." Izanagi then replied, "How delightful I am to have fallen in love with such a lovely maiden." The couple went on to board 2 deities. Unfortunately, they were both failures. The unsatisfying deities were abandoned in the waters. Confused by their misfortune, Izanami and Izanagi ascended themselves to heaven to ask the deities why both of their newborns were such disappointment. They were told that it was wrong for the woman deity, Izanami, to speak first after turning the pillar. To correct this improper act, they performed the pillar ceremony again, making sure Izanagi spoke first. After accurately executing the pillar ceremony, all the children were born up to par. Awahi, Shikoko, Oki, Kyushu, Tsushima, and Hansu became the 8 islands of Japan, otherwise known as Oyashimakuni.
So in the creation myth, what we find is that the beginning of the world is kind of like an undisorganized, chaotic mess. There is some material there, kind of like an egg and a yolk, kind of all mixed together. And then the yolk kind of falls out of the egg and forms more or less the earth to an extent. And then there are many gods and goddesses, usually pairs, and from these gods and goddesses, these deities are called kami. Izanami and Izanagi, the receptive couple, this cosmic parents, then have and give birth to a number of kami, of which they birth and create the Japanese islands. So the Japanese islands themselves are considered spiritual deities in a sense. They're associated with deities. They also give many, many more births of many more kami who are associated now with different sights of wonder and beauty and awe-inspiring things within nature. So the fire god was one child of Izanagi and Izanami, and he burned Izanami and died going into the underworld. Izanagi went to find her but returned alone because of her ugliness. He washed to purify, and from him came the sun, wind, and moon. And from the sun goddess came the first emperor of Japan, Jimmu. So within this creation myth, for Japan, what we find is there was an understanding very similar to Egypt, where the pharaoh was the son of the gods. Here, the emperor of Japan was also deified. This becomes kind of significant, especially by World War II, where the emperor was still considered deified, and the land of Japan was a sacred land of the gods, and therefore was to be defended at all costs and to be honored and obeyed no matter what. Now the kami themselves, and by the way, you're going to find out you've actually experienced a little of Shinto in your own life, most likely. So the kami are deities of earth and heaven. They can be human beings or ghosts. They're birds and bees and trees and plants and mountains, etc. Anything that's awe-inspiring, anything that could be good or evil, anything sacred or mysterious. So Eastman says in his book, that which is particularly wondrous, whether in nature or among people, they accept it as a superior object of worship called kami. Kami respond to human prayers and can influence the course of natural forces and human events. So Shinto is trying to live in harmony with the spiritual world of all the kami around. They adapt to the world. They live harmonious with nature. When you go to a Shinto temple, you will find it is made of natural materials. It is not awe-inspiring like a cathedral with high ceilings, but more aligned with nature and built into nature itself. The kami are the energies that animate nature and are treated as persons. And Shinto is focused on purity and, in a sense, on good luck, especially purity from anything that would cause. Within Shinto, there's a strong focus on purity. In fact, especially from death, of washing, of making sure that nothing is contaminated. So sweeping, cleaning, washing are all different habits that the Japanese have that have spiritual significance. So Shinto, I was in Japan for only less than nearly 2 weeks. And we took tours in Kyoto specifically of Buddhist and Shinto shrines. as well as in Tokyo. And the tour guide said Shinto is really a religion about good luck. There are no moral or ethical principles or books or scriptures within it. You go to a shrine, you pray, you offer some prayer on a wooden board. You go in front of the main shrine where there is no deity, just kind of this bronze mirror kind of thing. And you clap your hands, you do different rituals, and you're actually looking for good luck for your exams, for your wedding, for a birth of a child. Buddhism in Japan, the tour guide said, is more of a funeral religion. It's for ancestor worship and taking care of the next 50 years of someone's afterlife so that they can reach into heaven in their version of Buddhism. So Japan itself does not focus on religion in the same way that many other nations do around the world. And among Shinto, as far as religion, there is no supporting body of philosophical and moral literature. There's no code of ethics or conduct. And there's no sense of any original sin or fall of humanity or flaws within humanity at all. There are priests, there are temples, there are rituals. It's not easily categorized with the rest of the religions that we know of in this world. Now, you know about Shinto, like I mentioned before, and I think that's because you've probably played Pokemon in some form or watched it. When you research Pokemon, what you will find is that the kami, these Pokemon are actually associated with insects and other things, but they're also highly connected to the kami of the Shinto religion. Fascinating, huh?